What is going on, Panther Lair? We are back talking about the Pittsburgh Panthers' performance this past week in the ACC Tournament. Now, I have mentioned earlier on in this article that I am obviously going to break down some game clips, but I do want to put a little bit of a different spin on it, and I'm going to emphasize some of the performances of the seniors in the context of them playing their last season here for Pitt. Now, I say that because you never quite know in this landscape if they'll play some more collegiate basketball, but I think we can at least determine they will not be doing that in a Panther uniform. And so I did just do DeMarco Minor. Now I'm going to move to Cam Corhen, and I do want to say that I do not believe that Corhen is going to be easily replaced. He enjoyed his best season as a college player this past year. Averaged 13.6 points per game, 6.8 rebounds per game, 1.9 assists per game. He did dip slightly in terms of his overall efficiency from the floor, from the 60% down into the 50%. I think a lot of that's because, one, he ended up being the focal point of the opposing scouting report, which is probably not where he is best suited, but also kind of expanded his game a little bit, stepped out more, shot some more three-pointers, and so there was a little bit of a dip there. But all those things were probably necessary, given where this team was offensively. But again, I think he's a little polarizing for a lot of fans because they're not really sure how to view him. I honestly believe that if he was on a little bit better of a team, that he could have shined more, that his contributions could be maybe a little bit more impactful in terms of wins and losses. I also believe that if the current roster would have come up a little bit faster, that things would have gone a little bit better. All that to say, I don't know if Corhen ever could be the focal point of a ACC really highly competitive team, but he absolutely can be a contributing part in the starting lineup on one, and I genuinely believe that here. So we're going to take a look at some clips here against NC State, and I'm going to talk about why. First three here are going to be the pick and roll type of scoring opportunities, and honestly, he evolved in these as well. Like, this is not necessarily the same things we saw all the time from him last season, but just ended up having a really good feel for this late. And I think the shame of it was, last year, for whatever you think about Jalen Lowe, was a much better pick and roll guy in terms of finding teammates and abusing kind of how the defenses were going to play that, more so than the guards this year. So just kind of moving into this first one, and Corhen, much more proficient playing on the perimeter, a lot more comfort you can see here, but sets a solid screen, and his screen setting became better probably in the last 20% of the year, last third of the year. Exits. Now look, one of the things Cam has always struggled with is his hands, right? They've not been great, but they've actually been okay, probably in the back 40% of this season. And you see here, being able to catch that bounce pass, going right back down with the dribble through traffic, and finishing at the rim. Now, that's probably not something that he would have been able to pull off as a combination of not great hands in relation to his spatial awareness, but it's something at this point in the season, very end of course, that he's more than comfortable doing. See here, towards the end of the very first half, closing seconds, good feel, works in the space. These side pick and rolls here were pretty good towards the end of the year as well. And look, I mean, to be able to hit a floater from there, I mean, this is the kind of touch that he is demonstrating pretty much, I'd say, for most of this year at a much higher level than he ever has. And there's just a confidence to go with that because he's seen it happen so many times, probably both in practice and in games. Here we go. Crunch time here in the second half. I like this ghost screen slip immediately right down the middle, puts the ball on the floor because he's not going to be able to lift and finish from there, but he raises and finishes with the left hand at the rim. I mean, you have to say that Corhen probably was going to be that authoritative pick and roll finisher that the team needs, and most teams need. But he ended up being a much more polished and diverse finisher on rolls because his hands got a little bit better, his spatial awareness got a little bit better, and confidence grew and his finishing package grew. So kudos to Corhen. Okay, now some other things here too. I mean, he was never a great post finisher, but a lot of those things I mentioned, he become a pretty reliable one. I mean, we know he's going to like to turn over that left shoulder. He's going to like to go back to that right hand a lot of times, and he's kind of, switched that up a little bit if he's on this block. But to be able to kind of hit this tough shot here through contact and finish, that's maybe expected of him. But again, I'm kind of going, if you're going to figure this out, probably kind of going in what people probably expected from this guy to what he grew in, and kind of what may have been unexpected. So here we go, another like kind of wing, empty side, pick and roll. I think the team was really good at this. If they end up keeping Nugent Andrusaitis, I think it's important they find another guy who can pair well in this situation. When you talk about philosophies, if this is something you're going to do, and you're going to have that initial action flow into these wing ball screens, Andrusaitis proved to be pretty proficient with this, probably in like the last 8 to 10 games of the season, which kind of coincided with him actually shooting the ball well again. So that's a good replacement. And I just like here how there's 2 to the ball. Not a hard trap, though, but 2 to the ball. Credit for Andrusaitis for making this pass. But Corhen just sinks at the exact rate in which this ball can still come to him. Nice over-the-top pass, and then kind of that floating finish. Again, this is just a higher level of confidence. Now, your shooting percentage is probably not going to stay super high when you're taking a lot of those, but he does have the ability to make that shot, and it's in his arsenal, and rather than just plow into a guy and get a charge, able to just go over with a nice little floater. Okay, so we start to get in the areas where things were like, okay, is this ever going to get better? And his hands were a big part of that. Corhen wasn't, I'm not going to call him like a Chris Bosh level rebounder during those Miami runs. I guess that's showing my age a little bit. But also, I mean, the fact that he just wasn't a great rebounder. I mean, he wasn't like an 8 rebound guy. And he still didn't end up being that, right? 6.8, not the same thing as 8. But he did improve his rebounding as probably one of the real lone big guys. And a lot of times I think Roman Cialepa kind of stepped in and filled that kind of crash the glass guy, but still, I think his hands improved, his feel improved, his timing improved, and that did allow him, along with the fact that he played a crap ton of minutes, to secure more rebounds. And here we go again, just fighting for post position, double came, double went off, and now he's just kind of moving into a good scoring position, good patience, good feel, easy finish. And again, feel. Okay, not a great free throw shooter. The team wasn't really in general. But this isn't something I think we see from him last year. I think he shoots that free throw, maybe goes down the other end, doesn't really have the wherewithal, the experience to say, hey, this is coming off, and then just the hustle. I mean, he just timed that, grabbed it, and then finished it with authority. And these are the things that I think the team isn't going to be able to replace as easily. I mean, he really did grow into this position. If we're looking at this season as his junior year with one more, I think fans are really excited about what he might be next year. Again, I kind of preface this. I don't think that he's necessarily can be the focal point, but he can be a contributing piece. Again, so here's Minor. We certainly saw a lot of this year, but just moving into that scoring position. Just the feel here. I mean, he's just going to move. He's just going to kind of sink right into the vision here, right into his range, and that nice floater, which he had hit 3 times in this game. So saved his best for last. Career high, 27 points going out here in a must-win game that it certainly wasn't on him as to why the Panthers didn't advance. I think positively of Corhen's time here. The defense could have been better. We know that. This past year, though, or this season, however you want to phrase it, he absolutely could not pick up fouls. So, like, he wasn't a good post defender anyways, but he also had to be, like, almost like a cone because if he picked up any fouls at certain points in this year, it was just disastrous. So, I give him a little bit of a pass on the post defense. The ball screen defense got better, never to the point where I'd ever say it was, like, really good consistently, but it got better. And I think he did enough offensively. He was better offensively than I think maybe the team performed. So to speak, like he'd have really good games, the team wouldn't win. And I think he had there was 4 games maybe this year he scored 20 points, the team didn't win. I don't really know if that's on him though. I think that's just kind of a testament to like how the team couldn't really gel for 40 full minutes. A little bit devoid of talent, not the most guys that could optimize his abilities here. But I digress. Overall, I think Corhen had a really good season. I think he had a pretty good career here at Pitt. Didn't really translate always to wins and losses, but I don't know if that's always on him.